into this, right? So I got a comment. It must have been two people having a conversation. They both DM'd me at the same time. Because I got a comment from one person, or a question from one person saying, hey, I got this buddy that uses 10% risk. And he says that's cool. Do you think that's a little bit too much? Talking about 10% risk per trade. He said, you think that that's cool? Is that too much? And I said, well, yeah, typically anything over 3% risk per trade is kind of it's understood as like living dangerously. So yeah, I would say risking 10% per trade is a little bit high. And then I got another message from I'm assuming it was the guy, you never know, but he was like, hey, I got a question for you. If I'm risking 10% per trade, right? How many trades can I lose in a row before I go broke? Now, how would you guys respond to that? I was about to give him the name and the address of a charity I support so that he can just and be like, hey, if you're going to blow your money in the market, you might just donate it to this charity. That way, at least you have a positive impact on people. But I felt like being nice. But yeah, it's an interesting question because one of the things that he was doing the math and he was like, well, and this is what traders typically do. And it's not, I don't want to paint a trader like this as being, he's not dumb or stupid. It's just, this is just not knowing. It's the unconscious incompetence part of trading where we don't know, right? I didn't know we were supposed to use stop losses when I first started trading, right? You don't know until someone tells you. And I always get kind of hit with the message. Well, I was like, well, Akil, you know what? If I'm just a 51% trader, meaning I win more than I lose, and my average risk reward is 4-to-1, then what's wrong with using a 10% risk per trade? And when you look at those numbers, right? I mean, that makes sense, doesn't it? If you win more than you lose, 51%, and if you have a 4-to-1 risk reward on your average, then using a 10% risk is not bad, right? Take care, Al. What do you guys think? David says, wrong. and I think that was I was so happy because this was the eye-opening moment for the trader. I'm like, well, you know what? I said, let's say you're a 60% trader. He's like, yeah. I said, the problem is this. We're assuming that 60% is gonna come, right? Out of 10 trades, it's gonna be win, loss, win, loss, win, loss, win, loss. And if that's the case, right, 6 wins, 10 losses out of every 10 trades, and you can that's a very small sample size. You'd rather do it out of 100 or something like that. Then it's okay. The problem is this. Yeah. What if you're a 60%? I gave an extreme example. I said, what if you're a 60% trader? I said, what if you take 40 losses in a row before your 60 wins come? If you're risking 10% per trade, can your account withstand 40 losses? No. What if you lose 20 in a row? No. 10 in a row? No. And it was an eye-opening moment because it's a difference between the reality of trading and I guess the what newer traders think is coming in. I saw a cool infographic the other day where it's like, it was like 1 + 1 + 1 + 1 + 1 = 5, right? And a lot of traders think that's how results are, right? You're going to win, lose, win, lose, win, lose. However, in reality, how many ways can we get to 5? Using addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, right? Many ways, right? And trading is the same way. I showed you guys that equity curve of mine the other day from, I showed you a few of them. I showed you the bad one from 2 years ago where I had that 13% drawdown to start the year. I showed you that comparison between equity curves from, I think it was 2014 to 2017. You guys remember that? Where I had all the curves on the same sheet and they eventually all got to the same place because I'm pretty consistent in my returns, but the way the route they took to get there was a little bit different. That's how trading is, right? You never, you can be a 51% trader, a 61% trader, you never know how you're going to get there. You never know if it's going to be 10 losses in a row, followed by 20 wins in a row. You never know if it's going to be win, loss, win, loss, win, win, loss, loss, loss. Like you don't know. And if you're trading an account size, if your risk is too much, basically you're going to blow your account or be forced to trade be forced to take your position size so small that it's going to take double to regain your wins. Before you have the chance to win, right? You have to, the goal is you have to stay in the game, right? If you're using a set risk percentage, yeah, you're right. If you lose 50%, you need a 100% return to break even because your position size is going to be reduced. The goal is to stay in the game, is to withstand that drawdown and then take full advantage of the win. So it was cool because it was a silly comment, obviously, but I don't think it wasn't from a trader. He wasn't fighting it. He wasn't saying, hey, this has to be this way. I just think he wasn't informed. I just don't think he was informed. And that's important because that's our job here as traders, not just myself as a coach, but for you guys that are out there as well, is we want to represent the reality of trading in the right way. And I had a person yell at me on Twitter the other day. He called me a pessimist, right? I was saying, I don't even know what I was saying. I was saying something about the reality of trading. One of the quick hit videos I put up about trading is hard and everyone can't be successful, but this is what it takes if you want to be successful. And he's like, well, you're a pessimist. You have this negative attitude. I said, I'm just being real. I'm just being real. My opinion is this, and let me know if I'm out of pocket here, right? I would rather show you the reality of the situation. That way you know exactly what you're getting into before getting into it. Is that so wrong? And the reason I want to do that is, one, you have the proper expectations. If you have the proper expectations, you can prepare, right? If I tell you, hey man, you've got to be able to invest 20 hours a week to trading if you want to be good in the time frame you want to be good at. Well, now you know how to prepare. Maybe you start setting up your life around that. If I tell you you need to do this, you need to backtest, you need to blah, 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 now you need to be prepared. You know what you have to do, right? If I just told you, oh, it's easy, you can do it, everyone's going to try it. And most people aren't built to be successful. So you're just going to waste time. You're just going to waste money, right? I think it's a positive if you hear the reality, if it doesn't sound like something you can actually do, and you go follow another passion. Maybe you came into the game thinking it was a get-rich-quick scheme, and now you're hearing it's not, and maybe you're like, well, I didn't really like trading. I just thought I'd make a lot of money really, really quick. Maybe I'll do something else. I saved you time. I saved you energy. I saved you money. Yeah, so many people are selling dreams, right? What, participation trophies, right? This is like playing sports at a high level, right? If you stink, am I supposed to tell you you're good? Oh, you're okay. You didn't mess up. No, just be real. And then you can make the proper adjustments. So it was funny. It caught me off guard because I've never been called a pessimist in my life. And he couldn't give me a reason, right? This internet person. And I think he was a reputable person too, which was weird. He couldn't give me a reason. I'm like, well, what did I say that was pessimistic? I'm just telling you how it is. And the greatest story I always remember is the Xbox guy. It's one of my favorite stories of all time. Have any of you guys not heard that story? It's a short one, don't worry. I'm not going to get too long-winded here. Has anyone not heard that story about the Xbox guy? One of my favorite stories. I was talking to a guy on TradingView. We were having a conversation about, we were talking about backtesting. I guess he was new, he didn't really know what backtesting was. And I was explaining to him what backtesting was, right? I said you got to spend, after you learn how to trade, after you develop a system, you got to go through the right process of going through historical data, crunching the numbers, testing your system, and it's this long, exhausting process. And he was like, man, Akil, so you're saying I got to do all of that just to have a chance at becoming a successful trader? It still doesn't mean instant success? I'm like, yeah, you got to. And that's just, there's more after that. After you backtest, you actually have to work on trading psychology and be able to trade it. He's like, so backtesting takes hours. I'm like, yeah, I was unemployed when I backtested, so I can do like one strategy a I can probably knock out an entire strategy on a whole portfolio in a week. But that's because I was unemployed and I was backtesting for 12 hours a day. I know people that have backtested for months. And he was like, well, what about my video game time? What about my Xbox time? He said, I work a full-time job. I've got a wife and kid. I only have about a few hours in the end of the day to kind of play my Xbox. And I said, well, man, I'm sorry, but like, if that's all the time you have, you may have to get rid of that Xbox time and use that for your back testing. You just found 2 hours right there, right? We're working through the whole process of the excuse. I don't have any time and trying to find time. And he was like, I got to give up Xbox? Man, I don't know about that. I don't think it's for me. And at first I was offended. I was like, what the hell? Like, what type of successful person is going to put video games over their financial future? Don't you understand? Like, if you invest some time now and get really, really good at trading, you can quit your job, be a full-time trader, and play Xbox all damn day. But that's just how my mind thinks. I think in investment terms. Like, I'm willing to put myself through a massive amount of pain now to live pain-free later. But then I thought about it and I'm like, you know what? This person isn't built for success in trading. Probably something else, yes. But in trading, this person isn't built to be a trader because it's obvious that he's not willing to do what's needed, right? Would you guys agree? And that's not a negative. We can't force people to think the same way as us, right? I mentioned Taylor earlier with the minimalistic living, right? That's something he's doing, right? We can't force someone else to do that. Yeah. And I at least I thought of it as a positive because this potential trader could have lied to himself. He could have put himself in a position where he knew he wasn't dedicated enough to do it, took shortcuts, skipped back testing, traded live. Maybe he's doing this. I don't know. I hope not. But skipped all the necessary steps and tried to trade live and blown some money and wasted time. But at least he was able to identify that I'm not willing to sacrifice what is needed to become a successful trader. I'm going to find something else. And he didn't waste his time doing something that obviously he wasn't that passionate about, but doing something that he's probably not going to be successful at. And I would anticipate that he found something else that he can be successful at. So it's a positive, right? You tell people the truth. You tell people the truth. It allows them to see what's needed. Once you can see what's needed, you can decide whether you want to do it or not. I changed my major in college after my freshman year. You know why? I wasn't good at math. I looked at what I would have had to do to graduate with my business degree, and I said, you know what? I'm struggling with college algebra. I'm struggling with micro and macroeconomics, ironically. How am I going to do this and this and this and this and this? I'm probably going to have to get extra tutoring. I'm probably going to have to invest so much extra time in the books just to maybe get like a C average. And I told myself, I'm not willing to do that. I wasn't the best student. I was in college because I had to be, right? Parents told me I had to get a degree. I was an athlete, so I had to stay eligible. I didn't really care about school. So I wasn't willing to do anything extra. I was in college. I was willing to do just enough to get by. That was my mindset. So when I saw the writing on the wall of what I would need to do to be this, to have this business degree and whatnot, when I saw it laid out in front of me, when my professor, my advisor, showed me what the path was, I said, you know what? No, not for me. I'll find something else. Who knows what would happen if I wasn't shown that path? I might have been in too deep. I might have been 3 years into college and then realized that I couldn't make it. And now I've got to go back and start over and spend 3 more years in college, acquire more debt, or maybe even just dropped out, had no degree, right? You never know. So I'd always rather tell me the realness, right? Give me the truth serum. Let me know what it is and allow me to make an educated decision based off the facts. So I don't think I'm being pessimistic when I tell people about trading. I'm just telling you what it is. I'm just giving you reality. That's like me saying, life is hard. Suck it up. Versus, oh, life is easy. You got this. It's not. It's not. Let's stop telling people it is. Maybe we'll have a better society. We won't be so soft. And he can build a career from gaming if that's what he's passionate about. Hey, I'm not willing to put in an extra whatever hours on trading, but I am willing to do it on gaming. Yeah, shoot, he could be a Fortnite champion and win 3 mil. Maybe this is the guy. That'd be a cool story. Yeah, it's whatever you want. Yeah, just follow your passion and invest in that. Do you miss gaming? I wasn't a really big gamer. I enjoyed it. There were certain games I really enjoy because I'm intrigued by like the storyline, and I'm a sports guy, so I played sports games. So I do and I don't. I've been away from it so long that I don't really miss it. But now my oldest is 4, so he's at the point where we can play like we play like the Lego games, like Lego Batman and Lego Avengers. We're all on this Avenger thing right now. So we can play those games, and it kind of brings me back. So I'm a little bit excited. The older he gets, I'm excited about hopefully if he allows me to play some games with him. So I think I'll get back into it a little bit. But I wasn't like a big gamer. I gamed, but not like I wasn't one of those people that was like I wasn't investing 10 hours a day. But I do miss it as a leisure activity. I miss reading too. I miss a lot of stuff I used to do. Kids ruin lives. Remember that. Kids ruin lives. If you're thinking about having them, don't do it. It's a trick. And then they tell you, well, you have 2, and it'll make it better. It makes it twice as worse. I'm horrible. There's a little bit of truth in every lie. Okay. Pound yen.